Okay. Hey, welcome. Hey,
Hey,
Katrina.
Renee.
How you doing?
Excellent.
Awesome.
How
Awesome. So
are you?
today we're talking about mindful eating. What did you say? The body connection, mindful eating.
Oh man, I was spinning out a whole bunch of different titles. Mindful eating, connect like the hunger body connection, the body hunger connection, connecting to your hunger, paying attention to your physical signs, understanding how your body is reacting to the nourishment that you're giving it. Those are all physical cues that I think people just disregard or slough off too quickly. So
Yeah.
that's what we want to get into today. It's going to be
Awesome.
a gooder. It's going to be really deep.
Woohoo. All right. Why don't you get started? I started last time. Why don't you start this time?
Okay, but you're going to have to interrupt me because you know
I
I won't
will
stop.
I will try to interrupt you.
So mindful eating, I guess what I want to open with, I think, is that, I think there's this huge misconception, especially in the Canada and US, that we need so much food. We need a lot of food. And let me just tell you, food has become like this huge marketing industry, and they've made cooking exotic. And yes, food should be pleasurable and it is a joyous thing to do. And it should be, pleasure is a huge motivator, right? So you should enjoy eating. But I think like this is why we have an obesity epidemic right now.
I was just going to say, because, you mentioned we enjoy eating food, but we actually, when you think about it, we actually don't because we're shoveling it in. It's like we're trying to get it like in so fast. And it's
Yep.
like,
And
if
that's
we're
why we're
really
talking about it.
enjoying, yeah, if we're really enjoying our food, then we really should be slowing down and enjoying every bite and being
Mindful
mindful.
eating.
Yeah, mindful
Yes.
about what we're eating and what we're putting in our body. But, it starts out that, yeah, we need all this food and then it turns into something else, I think.
When I was a teenager, I was a pretty chunky teenager. And it was almost like a race in my family to see who could finish the food first. And it wasn't that we were running out of food. We had plenty of food, but it was just, if you ate the fastest, then you could have more. And so I would like shovel and actually it was like I was proud of that. I was proud how fast I could eat. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm going to have an extra piece of garlic toast, or I'm going to go have like 2 pieces of pie because I'm done first, And so for me, it was a race, and it was like a competition of who could finish first. Now I'm like, oh my God, it was so messed up. And look what you did to your body. No wonder I was chunky. I was not super fat, but I was a pretty chunky monkey all through high school. And it was because I never took the time to nourish my body. I had no idea what a body mind connection was, and to understand that. And so I just think that there's this huge misconception that we need to eat a lot of food for our bodies, because our bodies don't need that much food, and it's quantity over quality. So if you're feeding your body with nourishment and using food as fuel, and that type of food can be pleasurable and joyous as well, then we wouldn't have such an obesity epidemic. It would be fueling ourselves and satiating ourselves properly. I don't know if I said that word correctly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I think too, when we have these cravings, we need to realize that these cravings that our bodies have isn't just cravings for any type of food. It's because our bodies need certain nutrients and they're craving certain nutrients. So we need to really figure out what our bodies want. And most likely it's not going to be a pack of cookies,
well, how many times have you found yourself standing in the kitchen after dinner, like just mindlessly going through the cupboards? Like I'm not even hungry, I'm bored. And you'll just grab a couple handfuls of chips or a couple handfuls of cereal. Or maybe you find yourself eating half of the box of the snacks you bought for the kids. This mindless eating just happens out of boredom. Or maybe you're like, oh, I'm feeling snacky. And then you're like, oh God, I just ate like a whole box of cereal. But why are you feeling snacky? Why are you mindlessly eating? So mindful eating is taking that time. Of course it's taking time, like no TV, no phones, sitting down at the dinner table. If you have that kind of time, That is beautiful. And I bless you. And I think that it's amazing. But I also understand that maybe that's not uh, available right now. Like I, I'm a busy mom. I have 3 kids. I have one kid who's an athlete. We're always on the go. And of course, being an entrepreneur, I work all hours. Sometimes I do late night recordings. Sometimes I do late night coaching. Sometimes I do late night lives. I don't always have time for this dinner. But you know what? I don't need to eat. I can have a protein shake. I can have a protein bar. I can have a quick salad. I can have one little wrap, just to, and if I eat like that, I find that it actually sustains me longer than sitting down for these big meals.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's, I like the Japanese saying, eat to be satisfied. And
Yes,
we tend in North America to eat to be full,
big
but,
difference.
and the thing is, if we start eating mindfully, eating a little bit slower, chewing your food, making sure I'll get into that in a minute, but if slow ourselves down, it's giving our bodies time to catch up, to say, okay, I am full. Because if we are shoveling it in our pie holes, it's like, whoa, we're not giving our body time to say, whoa, I'm full. Like, it's beyond that. You get to the point where you're over full. You're like, oh, I feel
And then you
gross.
have
And
to do
I've
your
done that.
buttons.
I've done that. I am not the best mindful eater, I will tell you. And I think it is because, like you, being an entrepreneur, being busy, kind of working all the time, you just kind of, eat whenever
Eat
you
and
can,
run.
and you shovel it in because you're thinking of your next task. But then, we're not perfect, right? I'm not perfect. I'm like, okay, Renee, slow down, slow down. So,
One of those mantras that really helps me is make healthy choices.
yeah.
Just, okay, Katrina, you're in a hurry. You don't have time for dinner tonight. I mean, luckily my kids are teenagers, so I'll be like, you guys are on your own, make something. And then my thing is make healthy choices. So as long as I have that, I mean, and I know we've done clean eating, we've done our video on clean eating. So following those guidelines and making sure that I have that available. Also, food prep. Food prep is like key for me. And it's when I don't food prep, that's when all hell breaks loose. When you're just grabbing because you're hungry. But that's not
Yeah.
setting myself up for success, which falls into that whole daily habit thing. Like, how are your healthy habits? How on point are your healthy habits? But I don't want to get into healthy habits. I do want to talk about the hunger scale though.
Yes.
So
Let's do
I
it.
have a small pet peeve. So being in the industry that I am with, working with a nice range of women with reflexology, I do get quite a few elderly. And one of my pet peeves is when they tell me that their grandchildren complain that they're hungry. And they're like, oh, like my grandchild is overweight and he's always saying that he's hungry. And, he might say that his throat is hurting or he has a headache. And I'm like, that's not hunger. Hunger is when blah, blah, blah. And I was like, ooh, it's everything not to say something, because guess what? Every body is different. So, and I asked my daughter, my oldest, I said, what does hunger feel like to you? And she's like, oh, mom, I feel it in my throat. She says, I know I need to eat because my throat will start to burn. Has nothing to do with her stomach. Her throat burns, and that is her hunger signal. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So for me, my stomach will make all sorts of crazy noises. I get like the whole growlies that go on. Like I could probably put the microphone there and you could hear if I'm hungry, and it's a little embarrassing. But, and then that's usually first thing in the morning, or if I go on like a 4-hour stretch, then I'll get the growlies. But I do, like, I can feel a sensation inside my stomach. And that's when I know that it's time to eat. And we have a hunger scale that we talk about in coaching. And that's to start looking for food when you're on that hunger scale of 2, when you're hitting a 2,
right?
yeah, 2 out of 10, 1 out of 10. So 1 is not hungry. 2 is, I'm going to be hungry soon. So you might want to have, if you have not meal planned, like for me, I've meal planned. So I know, like when I get to a 5, I got to eat. But you want to eat before you get to a 7, because if I get to a 7 or an 8, then I'm ravenous. Then I'm going to eat my foot or the whole fridge. So, and then the opposite is with the fullness scale. You only want to eat till you're at like a 5 or 7. Because if you go over that 7, then you're like, oh God, I ate too much, and you're undoing your pants, and then you feel sick and bloated, and that, that doesn't feel good either.
Yeah.
But it's also paying attention. I think, like, Renee, what does hunger feel like to you? How do you know when you're hungry?
I get the same thing, kind of stomach feeling. I can feel the emptiness stomach. And to me, like my stomach talks to me as well, but my stomach also talks to me when it's full. So like, or if it doesn't like something that I've eaten, because I'm intolerant to a lot of foods. So it's like, nope, didn't like that. But normally it's in the stomach. Like I feel almost nauseous. And sometimes if I'm beyond hungry, then you want to stay away from me because I become hangry. My
Yes.
mood changes. So I try to avoid the hangry situation, but I can feel it. But I'm pretty much a creature of habit. Like 7 a.m. every morning, I'm having my apple cereal. Like I'm pretty much like that's what I do. And I do it because it's an hour before I work out, and that's fuels me for my workout, keeps me energized, but it's not like full. Like I'm not going to get crampy working out because it's just enough food that lasts me until lunch. So, but that's what you have to kind of figure out on your own. Like, what is that? And that's what we do to help, right? Like figure out, what do you do? What do you need? What does your unique body need for sustenance? Now, I will say though, you shouldn't go more than 4 or 5 hours without eating.
Yeah.
Even if you don't, you should grab something. And then that's more just for your blood sugar levels, right? So you don't get on that roller coaster ride. But except overnight, obviously, and then my rule of thumb then is overnight, try to fast for about 12 hours. And I mean, that's a good starting point for anybody. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah.
I agree with that 100%. But I think it's interesting. And I invite you, whoever's listening, to pay attention to your body cues. What does hunger feel like to you? And do you know when you've gone too far? Are you able to figure out that scale? Can you tell when you're like, okay, oh my God, I need to eat now? Or like a lot of people be like, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden something switches and you're like, oh, I'm starving, and then can you
Yeah.
stop yourself? Can you stop yourself at being satisfied? I love that. You stop or eat to be satisfied, not to be full. There's another
Mhm.
little mantra for you.
Yep.
Make healthy
Yeah.
choices, eat to be satisfied, not to be full.
Yeah. And if you are one of those people that really find yourself like a fast eater, one thing you can try is the chewing. We have this little tool, not tool, but this little thing we do where, try to chew your food 30 times, like one bite. Try to 20 to 30 times. Try to do it. It's not as simple as it sounds. I mean, some food will just be gone by then. But how many of you actually just inhale your food? Like people just do it. It's like, like don't even chew. And digestion starts in the mouth. So you want to be able to get that saliva going and get it chewing. So not only does it help your digestion, but it also helps slow down the process of eating, which is allowing your body to catch up to your mouth, right? Your stomach catching up with your mouth. And then the signals will come to say, okay, I'm satisfied.
I think a key point here when you're eating is to pay attention to who you're being. Like
Yes.
who you're being when you're eating. Even if you're eating McDonald's, if you're eating a Big Mac, are you driving and shoving it in your face and having a conversation? Or are you actually being mindful? Are you taking the time to enjoy that burger and all of the pleasure centers that come with it as your brain is like, oh my God, this is so good. And taking that time to allow your body to receive it and then use that as fuel. So even
Yeah.
if you are stuck eating fast food or something that is not nutritious, if you are being mindful, your body has a better chance of digesting it properly, and then you won't get as bloated or feel sick later. And even if you have something like, I don't know, let's just say a pita pit or a wrap, which is a little bit healthier than a burger. But if you're just shoveling that into your face too, you're going to find that you're still hungry and you're still searching for more. Like, oh, I ate my wrap, but now I'm going to go get like a McFlurry or chips and a pop because I'm still hungry. But if you took the time to eat that consciously, and you're actually thinking about nourishing your body and filling yourself up so that you're not hungry. And it'll also last longer too. Because if you just shovel the food in your face and you're going, you're going to find that maybe in an hour you're hungry again. But if you enjoy it and you take the time to chew it, the 20-minute meal, we have a little challenge for you. Trying the 20-minute meal. Can you actually take 20 minutes to eat a meal? That is hard to do.
That is very hard to do.
20 minutes, 20 whole. I was like, with my protein shake in the morning, sure, maybe as I'm running around, like I carry my shake with me from room to room as I'm doing my morning routine. But to sit and take your 20 minutes to eat your lunch or eat your dinner, it's actually kind of hard to do. But those are the little, chewing 30 times, having a 20-minute meal. Who are you being when you're eating? Allowing your body to receive that food in a mindful manner.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome.
That's all I have to say, really. That's kind of like a power punch. Let's bring it to you quick and dirty. Here it is.
Awesome. Yeah. And let us know, if you actually do practice mindful eating. We'd love to hear. And if there are any other tips that you have that we haven't mentioned, we'd love to hear that as well, because there are so many ways to do mindful eating and to slow down and to, really enjoy your food. So let us know in the chat. That would be awesome.
Yeah. That's all I have to say today.
Okay. Well, signing off then. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll come back at you soon.